I was gonna have to propose to him at one point.
Even after like 7 years, we still weren't living together.
In South Africa, you have to speak a certain way.
People are very stuck on culture.
It's not just like the Abi show anymore. So where's my lobola money?
I was playing in a band. It was like, on Florida Road, and I saw Abi walk in.
I was there with my friends,
Yeah.
and I didn't even notice you. And then we went to Winston, and then your friend Pascal from Joburg, he introduced us. I was like, hey, Abi, this is Brad. And I was like, kiss my hands, I'm a princess. And then you bought me a drink, I think, but I don't even know if I drank it. And then we like chatted, and then
We went to Amsterdam, which is just actually down the road from here. Some of Abby's friends were there, and I was there with some mates, and then I knew that you liked me then because we ended up kind of just like sitting by ourselves and just chatting for ages. I think we just got on really well. We had a lot to talk about, and I think that made it easy to connect. There weren't a lot of kind of things holding us apart so much as often in interracial relationships. Actually, there's such a culture clash that makes it so difficult. That wasn't really an issue.
I feel like our view on life was the same. We saw eye to eye from the beginning.
I think something about Abi that I find compliments me a lot, and I think it's the other way around, is that I think we approach things quite differently. So I'll be lacking in something. Naturally, she's pushes with that thing, and that kind of, I've noticed that is...
I'm laughing because it's like, I'll be like, oh my word, Brad, let's go to Bali and do this, this, and this. And he's always the one who's like, wait. Realistically, that's not gonna be able to happen. That's what he's trying to say, is that I'm like just crazy and want to do everything. I'm spontaneous and I'm more impulsive.
I'll generally want to look at things from a more logical point of view.
Yeah, no, Brad definitely keeps me grounded. I feel like we don't have like negative things that we hold against each other. And if we feel like there's things that irritate us or like about the other person, the positive about our relationship is that we're very open with each other. There's no like, hiding anything or resentment or...
I think you were, I was working for an NGO for a while, and even after like 5 years of being in a relationship, longer, 7 years, we still weren't living together.
He took so long to propose. I was just like, is this guy ever going to? I thought I was going to have to propose to him at one point.
I think that kind of would have been a breaking point for you if I didn't kind of take that step in my life and kind of show, okay, I'm all in now. For me, I just didn't know how to improve my situation and find another way, I guess, to make money, really, if I'm being honest.
I think you a little bit were scared of marriage. Like, I think in terms of Brad's upbringing, he didn't have like a marriage to look up to, and like, whereas my parents were very happily married. So like, I always looked up to marriage to be like, this is the goal.
I never ever, even growing up, I was never like, oh, I want to have a family, I want to get married one day.
I think the moment I knew that we were going to be together forever, it was just, there've been so many instances, I think, where there've been hard situations with Brad and I, where he's proven to me that like, no matter what happens or who I am, like, he's accepted me for everything that I am, who I am. His love language is definitely acts of service, because he's so giving and just like does so much for me and for my family and like now for Slade, that I feel like there's just were lots of occasions over our relationship where he just had proved to me that no matter what, he'll always be there for me. So I was like gonna fight for our relationship, which I feel like I've done a lot. Especially when he was like not wanting to like commit or was like scared of getting married, fought a lot to like keep our relationship going. Even if you thought that you were, like, you didn't communicate it with me.
I didn't realize that I wasn't good at communicating emotions. It was more so internal and not really to do with our relationship. And yeah, and Abi kind of stuck with me, or not kind of, did stick with me through that and accepted what I was doing and also allowed me to kind of be my true self and not have to like pretend. And I think that's what makes us work. When I knew that Abi was my person and we would be together forever, it wasn't difficult to be together. It kind of just worked, it flowed.
I think that during COVID it like made us realize that this is what we wanted.
What did we find challenging about each other's culture? I think because Abi was adopted, our cultures are very similar.
There's no culture clash in our relationship, let's just say.
Yeah.
Except the fact that his family are very big, and I come from a small family, pretty much just me and my mom and my dad, and they're quite like closed. I've always been quite closed off, whereas Brad's family is like a very big family, and I found it like very overwhelming. Like they have big Christmas, they always have bras, there's lots of drinking involved.
Not all the time. Celebratory drinking.
Brad gets on so easily, like with my mom and everything, whereas I find it very difficult to like interact with your family. There's nothing culturally because we both basically South African English. Why I was adopted and how my parents ended up adopting me. They started off fostering me because my birth mother was quite young and she, I think, had given me up for adoption, but then she kind of changed her mind and wanted to keep me. A long court case for quite a few years. So then my parents, I think, only officially adopted me when I was like 3, but I'd been with them from when I was a few weeks old. But yeah, they've always obviously been super open with me. I've been able to meet my birth mother, and if I wanted to see her now, I would be able to. But yeah, it was very, very hard for my parents to go through that, knowing that they'd made this bond with me and that my birth family still might be able to take me away. People that just don't understand and like can't understand why I don't speak Zulu. That's probably the most that like you've had to deal with those. Even on the videos that I make and post online, it's like, why is your accent so fake and forced? Why do you have an American accent? Yeah, I think definitely my experience of being adopted, obviously that's the culture that I'm familiar with. And I was so close-minded about, okay, if you're a black person, you can't actually, in South Africa, you have to speak a certain way.
The fact that people are like, they'll say you've abandoned Zulu culture because you don't speak it, but you could also argue maybe she was really abandoned by the culture. People are very stuck on culture.
Yeah, and I think also people are like so quick to be like, why don't you try to speak Zulu? You haven't even tried and whatever. And I explain, it's like they are aggressive towards me about it. Now you want somebody to feel like they're part of your culture, but every time I've interacted and tried, I'm not accepted. Yeah, it's very much a double standard. I think only now, as I'm older, I'm like understanding like all of the nuances about that and all of the complexities. Whereas before, when I was younger, it just made me feel insecure and like, okay, well, I'm not obviously good enough, or maybe like I'm not actually, like that culture has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, and I mean, Zulu culture is beautiful. Like, you know, we're so lucky in South Africa to be around so many different cultures. To be part of it, or let me rather say to witness it. I think a big misconception people can have with our relationship, fetishize interracial relationships, but after a long time of being with someone, you're not looking at the color of each other's skin. It's not about focusing on these surface things anymore. You have a deep connection with someone, that's really what matters. It can also just be difficult in relationships. I don't know how many times I got asked if I'm paying lobola, and I was just like, yeah, that's I don't have to do that. And again, financially, it would make more sense to put money towards an asset and maybe buy a house or something.
So where's my lobola money? What did you put it towards?
Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Well, I haven't seen any of it yet.
We're hodling, baby. We're hodling. We're waiting for the rise. I think what made it easier for my family to accept Abi was meeting her. There wasn't really any big biases or anything. once you get to know the person, you can look in someone's eyes, you can see, you get to know who they are.
And my mom always liked you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
From the beginning, you were always nice.
Does love transcend all boundaries?
But I also think it depends how hard the circumstances, like how hard you want to fight, what are the other risks involved. Like, I think we haven't really had to deal with that situation where we've had to like fight to keep our relationship with anyone outside of us. We've kind of been able to, in our own sense, transcend boundaries in terms of like any kind of like inner things that we've had to overcome to keep our love together more than any external things.
Yeah, does love transcend all boundaries? I think some people don't want to stop searching for something. I think when we started dating, we weren't then searching for more. I think it was just a matter of fact of aligning both of our lives and also realizing that that can take long if you want solid roots. And now with having a child, it's about our family. So whatever it takes to keep the family as strong as possible, that's the main goal. What has this relationship taught me about myself? Well, definitely the longest relationship I've had. It's taught me how to love properly. It's taught me more about who I am and how I deal with things. It's given me all the good things and opened up all of the good doors in my life.
Yeah, what has this relationship taught me? I think a lot about compromise and balance, being in a relationship and being a mother, because it's not just like the Abi show anymore. Well, that's not true either. It is still the Abi show.
That's fine.
I think what I would want other people to learn from our relationship or from our union is that it's so important to communicate. I think that's like my biggest thing in our relationship, and that what keeps us strong is the communication, because there's so often times where things can be misinterpreted when you're frustrated or angry or tired. Like, it's so easy when you become a parent. So for me, that's like the biggest thing. Yeah, and just allowing the person that you love to be who they are.
What can other people take from our relationship and union? Just be clear and direct with men, because we want to be protectors, we want to do the best we can, but sometimes we also need clear direction to be able to be that person.
If I had to tell my past self about interracial relationships, I'd probably say that just keep like your confidence in yourself and in your partner and in your relationship. People might have a preconceived idea of you or your relationship, but it actually means nothing because they're inconsequential to your relationship, your partner. So just don't even worry about it. And if they're looking, it's probably because you look great.